hello. So I'm here with Rodriguez.
Yes.
And you are why don't you tell us who you
Yes,
are?
of
I'm at
course.
Alaya Hotel. Alaya here.
So my name is Rodrigo. I'm the manager of the hotel. I've been in this hotel since 5 years ago. And yeah, I will let you know a little bit more about our activities and offerings as we go along.
Perfect. So I guess my main question for you, Rodriguez. Am I saying your name right, first of all?
Rodrigo with that O.
Rodrigo.
Yes.
Bueno. I'm going to be working on my Spanish moving
No
forward,
worries.
so I'll be better. So, Rodrigo, tell us a little bit about Alaya and what the most unique offerings are, specifically pertaining to wellness, because our target demographic, including myself, I like to travel in luxury and wellness prevalent places. And for me to be able to embody my lifestyle when I'm traveling, it's been a game changer for me. So one thing that I really loved about Alaya and staying here was all the wellness offerings that you have. So maybe you can tell us about them because they're unique to your hotel, a lot of them.
That's correct. So since day one, about 10 years ago when the hotel opened, wellness activities are always been a main part of our activities, our daily activities. It was created with that in mind. So it's embodied in the core of the Alaya Hotel. So that's something that we are not going to change. It's part of us. And we always try to share it with all of our guests, because it's important to understand that that's the way that Tulum was built, that was developed with that in mind, with those activities, with that feeling. And Alaya still preserves it very well in an ever-changing environment that Tulum is. We try to keep it as that. Alaya characterizes for their activities such as yoga. That's one of the things that we are famous for. Sound healings, temazcals, also Mayan clay baths on the beach, ice baths as well, and a bunch of different cacao ceremonies, new moon ceremonies that we scheduled through. Bit of what we have. We are also have this amazing wellness program with our director that you will meet later, and because we host a bunch of retreats throughout the year. That's another thing that characterizes very well with the international market. Just this year, we have hosted 7 retreats. And we have a couple of them during the summer and some others in the autumn season. So that's something that since day one we give some exposure to the outside world, and it catch very well with a lot of yoga studios, companies from the U.S., from abroad, and it's also something that we are very proud of. Every retreat is tailor made. Every retreat has different needs, whether in dietary needs or wellness needs. So we always tailor made each and every one of the retreats to the organizers' liking.
Awesome.
Just a little bit.
Those are all the things that I think people coming to Tulum specifically are coming here for. They're coming for the unique experience, the wellness aspect. It's just so prevalent here, and for people like myself, I've done the yoga class here in the morning. The time I've stayed here, and haven't had a chance to explore all of the activities, but we'll definitely be back. So I really like that, and a lot of the other hotels have different things. But I found upon my research that Alaya had the most amount and the most unique stuff pertaining to wellness. So I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Now, you guys are probably wondering what sort of collaboration opportunities are here and how that could benefit you as investors. So with our new business model, people who will have ownership in luxury vacation properties here in Tulum, first of all, because of the airport being launched, we're super excited about the direct flights that will be coming here. It'll be a lot easier to get here and have this experience very soon. So when these people who have these investors in our portfolio have ownership in our vacation properties, they will be getting revenue from those properties and have the ability to stay in those places. However, when they are not staying in those places, or if those places are booked up because we're getting revenue from them, or if they want to have a different experience, I want to be able to offer them to come and stay here. So obviously, with our collaboration, we're going to be able to offer them some very exclusive perks and discounts and things like that. And from your experience, are you finding a lot of North Americans, Europeans coming here, and a lot of Canadians as well?
Yes. So basically, since day one, is in this part of Mexico and in Tulum, and United States and Canada are always been our main audience.
Okay.
After that, then we have the European market, South American market, and just recently the Middle Eastern market. But it's a well known truth that the States and Canada, especially Canada, during the autumn and winter season, it's when we have our biggest audience from that part of the world. So that's also something that we feel very comfortable and that we connect very easily, especially with the mindset of Canada. People that are always very, very gracious, polite, and that it just goes perfectly with the way of being from Mexico, and as well as from Alaya. As you can see, it's a very intimate hotel. We always try to for our guests to have that intimacy, to reconnect with themselves. You know, it could be in a couple's trip, it could be in a solo trip or in a friend's trip, and that's all. Alaya is always gonna have those special things for every type of journey. So
Awesome.
that's also something very important to us.
I love that you said that because I'm finding the more I myself talk about Tulum. I mean, when I first came here, I just fell in love with the place. And when I saw the name, I didn't know it was pronounced Alaya. I was like, Alaya wants to stay at Alaya.
Yeah.
But then when I actually did a little bit of a deep dive and I saw all the wellness offerings, it felt so in alignment that it just made it all the more real for me to be able to come here and experience this for myself and for giving this experience to other people. But what I was going to say is a lot of people have never heard of Tulum, they've never been to Tulum, and they don't understand the how like where on the Yucatan Peninsula it's located, how close it is to the Caribbean side of things. So maybe you can tell us sort of like in comparison to a lot of North Americans specifically have been to like Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan, even Cabo, and those places are all amazing. I love them all. I just have a special spot in my heart for Tulum, and so as I expand this business model here, maybe you can tell us what you love about Tulum and also where it's located so that our audience knows kind of how it differs from the other places.
Of course. So about 200 kilometers from Cancun, if that's a reference point, because Cancun, just like Cabo, just like Vallarta, it's always been one of the main touristic destinations of Mexico since it got developed in the 80s until recently. However, Tulum, Playa del Carmen, Isla Mujeres, Cozumel Island, all of those places that are a little bit more popular in terms of the reach to the outside market are very different to each other and to Tulum. We are about 2 hours from the airport of Tulum. From the new airport of Cancun, it's only going to be a journey of 45, 50 minutes, which is very convenient. And in that aspect, is one of the main reasons that Tulum has been a little bit off the grid until recently from the bigger audiences. Also because of the concept, it's a more European plan. So one of the big difference of that is that there's not a single all-inclusive in Tulum. That's a big game changer. So there's a lot of activities that are more focused for the wellness aspect of things to explore on your own. Tulum encourages people to explore, to walk, to find new places, new activities, nature activities, archaeological activities, or wellness activities. There's a little bit of that, more of that to explore on your own than in the other spots. You know, every place is unique. It has its own offerings, but in the way that Tulum got developed, that's the way that Tulum works. To explore more things on your own, to be able to get a little bit of your comfort zone, but also to find a new comfort zone. You know, one of the things that I love about Alaya, and this is one of the elements that since day one I fell in love with Tulum, is to be barefoot. Something as simple as that.
Love
To be
that.
able to stay in your resort, in your hotel, and just be completely barefoot all day long.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's something as simple as that.
Just be so connected to nature and just be in your element, and there's no judgment, and it just feels so natural.
It's still one of those places that gives you that opportunity to enjoy those little things in life. You know, just the other day I was walking around in the night on the beach, and I saw a turtle nesting, and that was something unique. You know, I've seen it a lot of times, but every time it's always special because you never know when it's going to be the last time you'll see it.
Yeah.
And that's still one of the things that Tulum has amenities.
Well, I was going to say actually that one of the things I loved about it was similar to that in the sense that not just the wellness stuff, but the being so connected to nature. And there's this strong jungle vibe that's prevalent, yet it's still very luxurious. And you have this, like, they've really mastered the eco chic vibe. You know what I mean? More so than a lot of other places. I've been to a lot of places in Mexico, and like I said, I love them all, but Tulum just hits differently. And I think that it's because of all the things you said, and because there's not as much infrastructure and development yet is why it still has that, why it's a hidden gem. And I feel like why it still has those where you can see the animals and you can see the turtles nesting.
Yeah.
You don't just see that anywhere, right?
Yeah.
All the animals, even the pelicans. Like
Yeah.
yesterday I saw so many
Just
pelicans
diving right into, yeah.
Yeah, and in other parts of Mexico I haven't seen stuff like that. And I guess the final thing that I wanted to just mention to all of you guys and our audience is, which Rodrigo touched on as well, is right now you have to go from wherever to Cancun for the most part, and then drive an hour and a half, 2 hours pending traffic. Moving forward, and soon, as the airport was launched December 1st, you'll be able to fly directly into Tulum airport, and it's about 45 minutes to Alaya, which is kind of in the middle of the main strip.
Yeah, that's correct.
So that's a huge value add for our audience. In addition to the fact that there's a Mayan train that's almost launched, correct, which will go between all the airports.
Yeah, that's correct. There's going to be a direct station from the airport of Tulum to the town of Tulum, and also to other cities in the surrounding areas. One of the factors that made it a little bit more difficult for people to get to know Tulum was the distance. 2 hours from the airport of Cancun. Not a lot of people, especially if you're with family, if you're with friends, a bigger group, it's always a little bit more difficult to go those distances unless you're willing to. But now with this airport, with this train project, it's going to be a game changer for sure.
I agree. Huge game changer for everybody who's traveling who wants to come here, for our whole business model. And that's why when I first came here, I fell in love with the place and I was like, I want to live here part-time and I want to have places here. And it's always been my dream to own properties around the world, but never felt realistic to do on my own, which is how I came up with this business concept of why don't we do it as a collective approach, and we all invest in shares. And I think the two biggest things for especially Canadians is in Mexico to have property or to come here, it's not just easy. They think it's Canadian dollars, not as widely accepted. It's more American dollar or pesos, obviously. So we want to give that to people who didn't think it was possible to be able to have foreign property, but in a Canadian entity, and be able to maximize by having these connections. Because right now, if someone's never been here, they wouldn't know where to stay, how to get around, how to feel safe, how to get the luxury experience that they're looking for. So I want to give them that opportunity by being able to collaborate with people like yourself in places like this to say, hey, we got you covered. Just come and mention Aleya, stay at Alaya, and you're looked after. So I think one of the things, especially for myself as a woman traveling, was always feeling safe. Now, in all the places in Mexico I've been, I feel safest in Tulum. Now, yes, I've created a whole ecosystem here. So I have drivers and I have people like yourself and I have property managers and whatnot. But maybe you can just tell me what your perspective on why do you agree that Tulum is the safest place, and
different factors that as a whole gives this view to the people. Everyone knows that Mexico situation with regards to safety and all of that, but especially Tulum, and especially for solo travelers, for couples, for a group of friends, because it's still a smaller environment, it's a little bit more control than the major cities, like Cancun, Cabo, Vallarta. So in that, it's one of the things that still it's manageable on a smaller scale. For police departments, for transportation companies, for hotels to keep track of their guests. It also enhances the experience of the guest when it's a smaller venue, when the concierge is always aware of your needs, where you are, what taxi are you taking, where are you going, because it's important for the experience and also for the safety of our guests to know all of those little details. So that's something that Tulum and Alaya has the opportunity to offer and to follow up with all of our guests. And it's not just me mentioning. If you go to TripAdvisor, you take a look to a dive
I
to our
did.
51st reviews, you'll see that one of the things that people appreciate the most about the property, besides the ocean, besides the facilities, is the personal service. To after 2 3 days, the waiters already know what you like in the morning time, how you like your eggs cooked, like all of those little things. The concierge already know that, oh, she likes this at this time, she likes that at that time, and we are always gonna be just one WhatsApp away from you.
Actually, you nailed it with that. I think that that's, what, like you said at the onset, is there's no all inclusives in Tulum, and that's what makes the experience such a boutique, unique experience. And I noticed that myself.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think you nailed it on that front. And I know I keep saying final point, but I don't have any more questions
No
for now.
worries.
But yeah, so I'm excited to have our luxury vacation investments portfolio grow here, to be able to collaborate with you and offer special discounts and perks for our investors, our clients, our audience. So thank you so much.
No, it's been a pleasure, Alaya, and anytime, yeah, we're always welcoming our brothers from the States, from the world, from Canada, from all over the globe. So just give yourself some time to reconnect with nature and come to Tulum. Yeah,
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rodrigo. It's been a pleasure.
you're welcome.
Okay.